The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's November the 5th, 2024. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined once again by our feisty managing editor, Matt Shodell, and you'll see why as we discuss the news of the day, presented today by GameTime.co, your headquarters for all your ticketing needs, whether they be Miami Hurricane games like the one this weekend in Atlanta, or theater performances, concerts, NBA, NHL, whatever it is that you want to go to. Game Time has you covered. We'll talk more about Game Time later in the show. And also by Caneswear, your ultimate authority for University of Miami merchandise. If it has a U logo on it, you can find it at Caneswear. We'll talk more about Caneswear later in the show. But Matt, listen, the news of the day, well, I mean, we have so much to talk about. We had what I thought were some really, really interesting sessions with Mario Cristobal and the coordinators yesterday afternoon. And we'll talk a little bit about that. We also sent you to the lab where you are extremely dangerous. And this time you definitely outdid yourself in throwing yourself into a study of the Miami defense and some of the problems that it's been having. And man, it's a little ugly, no argument, but it's very topical because the issues that the defense is having are, I'm not going to be dramatic and say compromising the entire season right now. You're hoping it doesn't compromise the game against Georgia Tech or Wake Forest, that it doesn't compromise winning against Syracuse in the regular season finale. But it certainly could. I mean, you found yourself staring at a deficit to a very average Duke team the other day. And, Miami fell way behind Cal in that game where they had a lot of defensive lapses. And listen, this is the talking point of the season with Cam Ward lighting it up on the other side of the ball. Shannon Dawson doing, I don't know how better to describe it, but by calling it spectacular job of coaching the offense this year, which is not as easy as it looks with the magnificence of Cam Ward, because there's plenty of times out there that Cam Ward is not exactly executing the plays the way they are drawn up. And Shannon Dawson is having to be flexible minded and work with Cam Ward quite a bit and figure it out. And there's times when there's like easy plays to be had in some of these games, and Cam Ward's not taking them, looking for the big play. He might win the Heisman Trophy. Miami is the top offense in the country, but there's still so much that they are working on to try to perfect here for this stretch run of the season. So the point I'm making, Matt, there's a hell of a lot going on with this team, and a lot of interesting little subplots, and we're trying to dig in to them for the fans so they can better understand what they are watching each and every Saturday. And sometimes it's a tough conversation.
Yep.
I knew it. How did I know? I sit here
and you go on and on for 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Build up for all this work you've been doing, which happens to be pretty damn good.
You know what would be nice? You know what would be nice? Like a normal person, talk for 30 seconds to a minute, and then, hey, Matt, what do you think? Not a whole freaking soliloquy. Anyway,
listen, you're getting ready to go for about 10 minutes now, so I had to get my time in.
That's true. You know what today is, right? You know what today is?
Election Day?
No, it's National Animals Day. Yes, it's Election Day. National Animals Day was last month. And listen, I know this is not a political talk show, okay? But I just want to let everyone know I've actually made my decision on who to vote for president. And I feel like I should tell people because I feel like people should know the truth and they should know who to vote for. I don't care what people say, okay?
Oh my God.
This is someone I think can lead the country forwards, not backwards. I'm voting for Cam Ward. I'm writing in Cam Ward for president. I feel the country needs a good attack to keep other countries on their heels. And that way, it doesn't matter if we have a bad defense. It just doesn't matter. All that matters
that makes it two votes for Cam Ward because another Hurricane fan did the same thing and actually sent me the picture of the ballot before he submitted it to the election folks.
He might win. because apparently, according to the Republicans, none of these votes should count for anybody. So if we can just get 2 votes to count, Cam Ward might win the election 2-0 to nothing. So write him in, and it's not a. I'm starting. It's called a turf roots campaign. What I'm starting today. It's not a grassroots campaign. It's a turf roots campaign, and so yeah, write him in for president. It's going to be fantastic. He's going to be a fantastic president.
Yeah, it was funny. Somebody asked Mario Cristobal, and I'm trying to remember about the election and whether they did anything with the players for election day.
Make sure the players voted, and he didn't even say yes. He's just like, they're about the community and this and that and whatever. I mean, I don't think the first thing on his mind is, hey guys, go out and vote today.
Go out and vote today. Yeah.
Like if even a third or fourth teamer came up to Mario Cristobal and said, hey coach, I have class all day. I only have an hour free. Should I go vote and wait in line, or should I study film? What do you think? What do you think Mario Cristobal's going to say? Oh yeah, definitely go vote. Yeah, go stand in line for an hour and vote. That's what you should do.
Not my department.
Anyway.
Too funny.
Listen, so you mentioned the defense, the story I did today, and it is a film breakdown of the defense, and it's just, I don't want to. I could have posted honestly 50 different clips. I took one clip from each game against the ACC opponents that they've played, and they've given up 30 or more points in 4 of the 5 games in the ACC. It's not hard to find clips from every game where the defense just didn't do something real good, and no defense is perfect. But this one is way worse than a normal imperfect defense. The gaffes, you can look that word up, Gary.
They're unbelievable.
The of the word, you can look that up too. I'm not trying to say laughs. The gaffes are inexplicable, and you can see it on some of the GIFs, not gaffes. Some of the GIFs that I put up. The GIFs with the gaffes. That's what we have for you this morning. GIFs with gaffes, and he did address one. I think you actually asked him about that one play where they wound up setting 2 guys just totally loose on that goal line, the 4th and 1 goal line play. Something just I'd never seen before to that extent of disorganization and not understanding what to do as a defense. And his answer was, "It is what it is." He kept saying, "It is what it is." He said that like 3 or 4 times.
Well, let me tell you. Let me just say something real quick, and then you can continue. He's between a rock and a hard place, okay? Because he can't say the truth, and the truth is that the players are struggling to learn his scheme.
Correct. But why is that, guy? Is that his fault or the player's fault?
I don't know.
If you have players that don't. You do know. You coach basketball. I coach baseball.
Most people would say it's the responsibility of the coach to have a scheme that the players he's working with understand.
No, not the scheme. You keep your scheme the same. To have plays within the scheme that players understand. The plays that you run. If you have to make it simple, you make it simple, because what's the point of making it too complex if you can't even run it? It's like on offense, right? Shannon Dawson says they throw out plays out of the playbook every week, every Sunday and Thursday. On Sunday, Shannon Dawson throws plays away in the garbage, and on Thursday, Cam Ward throws plays in the garbage. They want plays that seem simple but look complex, and that's sort of what you need to do on defense, because what they're doing on defense right now is clearly not being understood by
simple but look complex.
Exactly. It's the opposite. There's one play. It's a 2nd and 4. Certainly not a passing situation. And you see Ruben Bain and Tyler Barron. I'm sorry, was it Ruben and Tyler? No, it was Akeem Messidor and Ruben Bain. That's who it was. And it's in the clip this morning. Act like it's 3rd and 20. I mean, they are relentlessly pass rushing, not even looking for a running play, and leave it just a huge. Don't even try to set the edge. Leave a huge gap. They literally one twist inside, the other one's going outside, just a huge gap. The running back goes through it for whatever, 15, 20 yards.
The Cal game, right? The Cal game, I believe.
Yeah.
That was the Louisville
whatever
game.
It was. Yeah, I think it was Louisville.
Yeah.
But regardless, and this is a really good run defense, by the way. They're, I think, in the top 10 or 15 for run defense. They're not a bad run defense, but things like that, you can find things like that. And every team has those. It's when you have a lot of them. And there's not a lot of them in run defense. I just put that in so it's not all bashing, the secondary. The run defense actually has been pretty sound for the most part. But when you get into looking for clips of just one-on-one bad coverage, zone coverage that doesn't work, guys that just are holding their hands up, like I said yesterday, that don't know where they're supposed to be, or pointing to somebody else to go there and the guy doesn't move. Those are all over the place. Those are scattered throughout. every game multiple times since they started ACC play, and it hasn't gotten any better. And it would be nice for the defense coordinator to stand up there and maybe not even act so happy. I mean, he seemed like he was thrilled. If you just looked at his body language and face, like he couldn't have been happier yesterday. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I mean, that should have been a serious, somber interview explaining what's going wrong to fans.
No.
Like he treats it like the fans don't deserve an explanation. That he's there to do whatever.
All,
we have no right.
He's being a man. He's coming out and talking about it, which
he's not actually. I would argue he's not.
Some coaches wouldn't do that. Okay, and and
I know he would cancel his availability. I don't think so.
A lot of coaches would not face that the music, so to speak, when their unit is playing as erratically as Lance Guidry's defense is playing. And it's amazing, because like we're sitting here with the team, we're talking about a 9-0 football team that's number 4 in the country. But when you look at this defensive breakdown today, and it is not unfair at all, it is actually what is taking place. It's startling. I mean, that they're having this many issues, and it's no joke. I mean, they were down 25 at Cal, purely because of mostly because of mental breakdowns on defense, lapses on defense that
were down by 11 to a Duke team that can't score.
Down by 11 to a Duke team Saturday.
He made a good point. His best point was he said, "Look, we're winning games." That was, I think, the final thing he said. We're winning. And it's true. Like, fans should be very happy. The reason we're nitpicking is because as you look to the future, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know what a great team looks like on both sides of the ball. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize if you're really bad on one side of the ball and you go up against a really, really good team on both sides of the ball, you're going to lose that game. Like, that's just what happens. If you have a great team on both sides of the ball and you play a team that's great only on one side of the ball, the team that's great on both sides of the ball is going to win. Now, are there teams out there that are great consistently on both sides of the ball this year in the country? No, which is why Miami has a chance. But Miami's not even average on defense right now in the passing, in the secondary. They're not even playing good offenses, and they're doing terribly. Duke and Florida State are two of the worst offenses in the country. And yeah, FSU, they held them pretty good, I think, other than a couple of explosives. But Duke, like, that's inexcusable. Cal isn't a very good offense, and that was ridiculous, So this is why we bring this up. Fans are on the YouTube channel complaining yesterday. They were so negative and we're two angry old men, which makes no sense because you're the only old one here. So I don't know what they're talking about with that.
Well, but nobody's angry. I mean, the team's 9-0. This is a phenomenally entertaining season. I mean, everyone's having the time of their lives watching this team every week.
Oh, it's nobody for sure.
There's nobody, certainly nobody who's angry for sure. Like nobody's angry.
Right.
Our job is to analyze what's in front of us and that's what's taking place. I mean, and it's mostly complimentary. Obviously, the team's 9-0. The coaches, are especially on offense, are doing an unbelievable job. It's just that this defensive challenge that they're facing is the whole season. I'm not sure they get past SMU for sure with playing defense like this.
They'll be favored. They'll certainly be favored against SMU.
Lashley's going to dial it up, man. He's going to compare. And Manny Diaz is going to help him.
That is true.
Manny Diaz is going to help him and give them everything that Duke had.
Talent wise, there's a huge discrepancy. So then you get to, you're right. If the coaching discrepancy is that big and Rhett Lashley and his staff are that much better than Mario Cristobal and his staff, then you're right. Miami will lose. You got to hope that Mario Cristobal and his staff aren't as bad as maybe you're making it sound. But because Manny Diaz helping Rhett Lashley, you're making it sound like that's better than what Miami has.
Well, there's a lot of schematics that go into these things. Mario alluded to it yesterday, by the way.
Everyone knows.
Mario brought it up. Everyone
knows what Duke did. Everyone knows what Duke did to Miami. There's no secrets.
Duke was scheming it up pretty good.
Yeah, and you can see it on film. It's not a secret anymore what they did. They did it.
I know, but they were scheming it up pretty good, and they absolutely would have things to offer Rhett Lashley. Should SMU advance and Miami advance, and they meet each other in Charlotte. And Mario brought it up in his press conference yesterday that coaches do share ideas and notes with each other, and he knows that that's coming up ahead, and that they got to get this stuff together. But I mean, this is going to be, as the degree of difficulty gets higher here, going to be the big issue for Miami. And
I mean, I'm honestly at this point in favor of. Did you freeze or did I freeze? Okay, I'm in favor of a 3-3 stack again because you know what? The defensive line is not getting the job done anyway. I really like how Raul Aguirre plays when he's in the game, and you know, I think that he's putting so many different guys on the line of scrimmage right now that aren't doing the right thing. You know, in terms of being able to cover guys off the line, get into zone off the line, whatever it may be. Like he's just making it too confusing. 3-3 stack actually makes it a little bit simpler, I think, overall for the defense. And I also think that, you know, in that situation, you can use Simeon Barrow played in a 3-4 last year, right? So he's perfectly fine at nose tackle. And then you just put two ends next to him and like get Aguirre in the game and see what happens. Because last year their defense actually was as good, if not better, when they went to a 3-3 sack. And that was with guys named Jared Harrison Hunt and whatever else they have.
Well, Aguirre's hurt right now, by the way. We don't know how serious it is.
Oh, is he? Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, so I don't know. Alderman wasn't that impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I
don't know. Aguirre, you're right. If Aguirre's out this week, then then throw that by the wayside. But they need to do something different that maybe is easier for the players to grasp. And I think that 3-3 last year was simplified because they put it in 1 week, basically. It was so simplified that players understood how to do it, which is why I think it worked for those couple of weeks that they used it. So I would like to see them just bring something back a little simpler, you know, just simplify things. And I don't know if
a lot of these guys are playing for the first time. They're not used to the pressures of week-to-week game plans and things like that. And it's breaking down a little bit. It absolutely is. And this is a huge challenge for the coaches. I mean, you know, Guidry is at the forefront of it, but it's his position coaches too they're under the gun here, and this is not an easy problem to deal with. And so anyway, we take a deep dive into this. Matt did a really good job on it, and it's a little harsh, you know, but it also is the most topical thing going on with this football team right now. And that's why it's worthy of a closer look and allowing you guys out there to see exactly what is taking place and why some of these big plays are happening and what the challenges are that the coaches are faced with here beginning this week against the Georgia Tech team that, by the way, is probably a little bit better than some of these other teams they've been playing. The line, for example, by Vegas has been set at 11, where the last couple of weeks the line was 21. So now this line's 11. That tells you that the wise guys out there in Vegas think that this Georgia Tech team that's playing at home on Saturday is better than the teams that Miami's been playing over the last month. So take that for what it's worth. That would suggest that this could be a very, very competitive game on Saturday. And there's no reason that it wouldn't be. So Matt, let's talk about offense a little bit, little bit of a happier subject. You know, we watch it, and we saw some plays the other day that they left out there where, you know, guys were wide open, short, and maybe Cam was going for a big play instead of taking what was there. And you know, of course, Shannon Dawson wants them to take what's there. You know, that's what the offense is designed to do: take what's there. So there's some coaching going on the offensive side of the ball too. You know, obviously the wild interception. Undoubtedly, Shannon's trying to coach that out of Cam Ward, who pretty much declares that he doesn't care. He's going to do it regardless because he's made that play before and he knows he can make that play. I'm not sure what play he thinks he's making, because you throw the ball up for grabs in the middle of the field like that, 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to get intercepted. So I do think that Cam is a little bit flawed in his thinking there, but that's where Shannon Dawson comes in. And I just think he's doing a great job, Matt, in putting this whole thing together, finding good plays each week for them to focus on. Cam Ward, his accuracy throwing the football for the most part. I know he has some bad throws like any quarterback. For the most part, his ball placement on throws is the best that we've seen here in a while. I mean, that touchdown play to Restrepo where he split the two defenders, I mean, could the ball have been, he could have handed it to him in a better place, and it allowed Restrepo to go full speed and plow right through those two guys. And, you know, we see a lot of slants being completed to Horton, for example, where the coverage is tight and the ball's got to be delivered in the perfect spot. and he's doing that. And it's just a very classy look to this offense when you factor in the running game and the way that's gotten going. The offensive line gets a huge shout out for the way they played against Duke. Some of their pass protections were just clinic. I mean, clinic stuff. I mean, as good as it could possibly be. And of course, their run blocking, it wasn't as effective as it was against Florida State, but they certainly did an acceptable job. And really, the opposite is taking place on offense, Matt. You can try to find like little things here or there with Cam Ward's game or whatever to point out, and they are there, but like this offense is pretty close to playing perfect football right now.
Yeah, it really is almost like two different sides of the coin. Everything when you have, this is the thing, right? When you have great players, you don't need a great coordinator. Not that Shannon Dawson's not a great coordinator, but like that's the problem Lance Guidry's having right now is he doesn't have great players on that side of the ball. If you gave him the inverse of Miami's offensive players, right? The Xavier Restrepo of Nichols cornerback, the Cam Ward of linebackers, right? And all that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like that defense would be absolutely amazing. And we would be sitting here talking about how amazing Lance Guidry's scheme is and how great this Miami defense is. It is a little bit subjective in that sense, which is why some fans are like, we've never played football. We don't know what we're talking about. We haven't even watched football, blah, blah, blah.
Let me tell you something for whoever's posting that. You read, forget about me. You read Matt's story today, breaking down the defense, and you tell me he doesn't, because he didn't play, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I mean,
I did play, but I outsourced it anyway. So somebody else wrote
it.
You
but played football?
I didn't play tackle football. I played 7-on-7s and I covered a lot of football.
Touch football.
I look like a football player to you?
Touch football with in the co-ed PE class in middle school.
No, I played competitive flag football. As a matter of fact, I even played adult flag football.
You played touch football in the co-ed PE class in middle school. That's what you did.
No, and Randy Shannon, I played it as an adult too. And Randy Shannon actually drew up a play for our defense on our team on the back of a napkin at some media day thing. Which did not work, by the way, because he assumed we were running like a 4-4-40 and could get to these different places. And no, we run like a 5-3 if we're lucky. But listen, you don't, Jed Fish, right? You never played football. Like people can understand football without having played tackle football in high school, believe it or not. Okay, just being schmucks like me who played competitive 7-on-7 football and covered football and was around football all the time growing up, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But regardless of that, if you have great players, the coordinator looks a lot better, right? That's the whole point. If you put Shannon Dawson against Lance Guidry head to head and you gave them exactly the same level of players, I personally think Lance Guidry is the better coordinator. Like, I actually love how he runs his scheme. It just doesn't work when you don't have good cornerbacks. And I'm not sure that right now any coordinator would have success with those players on that defense. Like, would it be better as a simplistic defense? Yes, because they obviously don't understand it. But I have a feeling that even if they understood this defense perfectly, yeah, it would take a lot longer for other teams to score, most likely. And maybe they'd make some mistakes of their own along the way, because that's what offenses do instead of having these quick scores. But, I'm not sure the results would be that much different.
Yeah, I'm not either.
The personnel on defense right now is not good enough, especially in the back end. And you know what? The defensive line hasn't been performing as well as it should either.
No, I've been saying that on the message boards, and there's this one guy.
Is that Lance Guidry's fault? I mean, defensive line, a lot of this stuff, yeah, they do some twists and, and different things and stunts, whatever. At the end of the day, if you're doing a bull rush and you're Ruben Bain and you don't get there, who's that on? Lance Guidry? I mean, at some point you have to say, listen, the players aren't playing well enough. And it's a combination of
things. No outside speed rush. Tyler Barron has disappeared.
Correct. But when you allow 30 or more points in 4 out of 5 games, it's not just the coordinator. It's also the players. It's a combination of factors. You can't ever just point at one thing when stuff's that bad and say, this is the reason why. It's not just the secondary. It's not just the coordinator. It's not just the defensive line not getting there. It's not just Francisco Mauanoa trying to cover guys, which, by the way, Lance Guidry says he'll continue to do. He's like, Oh, well, he had a fast running back he was trying to cover. Oh, well, that's what he said. Like,
he said there's an option to switch the coverage with a defensive back, but you're not always able to get to it.
No, so he clearly said that it just is what it is, and that's just how their defense is run. He said that. He didn't say, I wish that we had done this differently, or, oh, it was a bad call by me. No, he said, it is what it is. Like, that's what happens sometimes. I mean, he accepts it. So anyway.
I mean, really, it's kind of like snuck up on us, quite honestly, because it's not like the defense is playing bad every play. Like, they're not. Like, their problem is big plays. Like, when they're giving up yardage, it's in big chunks. Play to play, they're really been relatively fine. It's just the lapses, the big plays, the confusion that has made this an issue. But I love this one post by Patrick Humble. Patrick Humbled 4087 in our YouTube comments. He's commenting on Lance Guidry's press conference. He says, "We love you, coach, but we want to win a championship." This is really summing up the mood of the fan base. We want to win a championship. The fan base sees what this offense is capable of, the best offense in the country, and understands that it's the defense getting its act together that's going to decide how far this team goes this year. And he goes on to say, defense wins championships. You got this. Read it and beat it. Don't be stubborn. So that's his words of encouragement for Lance Guidry. I mean, the funny thing is, a year ago, people were like all over Shannon Dawson, and Lance Guidry, because he figured out the 3-3 stack of the defense, was playing okay for the most part, and he was immune from the wrath of the Canes fan. Now it's kind of reversed this year. But listen, I don't think it's just Lance Guidry. He does have his schemes, and yes, you might be asking him to dump his schemes and come up with a defensive plan that will get executed without all these busts that they're experiencing. And that's not unfair. That's what coaches sometimes have to do. But again, like, this is not an every play thing. This is something that's surfacing on individual plays. You got to believe that it can get fixed to a degree, and that's their challenge this week as they get ready for Georgia Tech. All right, let's take a moment here and let's hear from our friends at CaneSport.
Welcome to CaneSport. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, CaneSport has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. CaneSport, the spot Miami fans shop.
All right, we've been telling you about CaneSport all season long, guys, and it doesn't matter what you need. T-shirts, jerseys, polos, hats, even like little magnets, things like that. They have it at CaneSport, which is your absolute ultimate source for all your Miami Hurricanes merchandise needs. They have sizes for men, women, kids, babies. Matt, cover your ears. Matt hates this, but they'll even dress your pet. Yeah, you got a dog at home, they will dress your pet. Gear for other teams in town, the Panthers, Inter Miami Soccer, the Heat. No better time than now to load yourself up. You got the holidays coming up. The Canes are hot. They're going to be playing hopefully deep into December. And you can, buy holiday gifts for your friends, family, significant others. So check out CaneSport, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, or at caneswear.com, where you could shop their inventory every minute of every single day of the year. So 2655 South University Drive in Davie, 15 minutes north of Hard Rock, if you want to go before the Wake Forest game, or caneswear.com for all the latest and greatest Miami Hurricanes merchandise.
You know what my advice is for people who want to dress up their dog, Gary? That they should dress up their dog. Dress up your dog as a dog. Let him be. That's how you should dress up your dog. He already has his outfit. His outfit is dog. That's the outfit he was given. He's already wearing it. You don't need a second dog outfit for an animal that's already a dog. It doesn't make any sense.
All right. A couple other things that came out of yesterday. I wouldn't plan on seeing Jadaeus Richard anytime again this
You
season.
said Judeus. I told you to. I asked you the other day how you pronounce it, and you said Jadis. Now you're back to Judeus.
Oh, it's Jadis, right? I'm
It is
sorry.
Jadis.
All right. Jadis Richard, I wouldn't plan on seeing him again this
No,
season.
he's done.
His injury is pretty significant. You might see Damari Brown, though. I don't think you're going to see him this week against Georgia Tech. Mario Cristobal basically said no, but you could see him as soon after you got a bye week after that, and then you probably will see him in time for the Wake Forest game.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
mean, you're lucky that Mario Cristobal is not Superman, because you asked him about Damari Brown, and he looked at you, and if he was Superman, his eyes would have turned red, and he would have shot that little fire thing out of his eyes, and he would have turned you into a little tiny piece of whatever those dogs wear on their feet, cinder blocks. He would turn you into little cinder blocks that the dogs wear on their feet from that store you keep mentioning. CaneSport.
Listen, you just lost one of your starting corners. I mean, would you say that Damari Brown's return is a pretty significant question?
No, I agree. But Mario.
Yeah, but I had to ask. I mean,
yeah. I hope that they use Mish Powell at nickel and don't start just using Deani Hill, because he's been pretty darn bad. And then I hope they put Zaquan Patterson at safety. That's what I would do based on my 7-on-7 competitive experience growing up and playing adult leagues. It's got to work. I'm sure it'll work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll be talking about this, but a big issue is going to be Damari's readiness. I mean, after missing so much time.
Yeah, too.
How effective can he be after missing all the time he's missed? Talk about Superman. Is he Superman enough to walk out on the field and be a high-level effective corner?
I can't imagine him playing any worse than anybody not named OJ Frederick right now on this team. So,
yeah, I mean, you're probably correct, but we'll see. I'm not jumping to any conclusions there. I understand that it's hard to not have played the whole season, and now you're coming in for the hardest games of the year, theoretically. If you look at Syracuse, possibly SMU, then hopefully the playoffs. It's not gonna be an easy task. Syracuse is going to throw the ball around a lot, so obviously is Rhett Lashley and SMU. So we'll be talking a lot about Damari Brown as we move forward here, but it is looking like he will be able to come back, which is a good thing. Let's see. We got a couple other stories, a couple recruiting stories today. As a matter of fact, we've got a look at 4-star Florida cornerback commit. His name is Jalen Waters. He's 2026. Like I said, committed to the Gators. But the Hurricanes are in the mix after Waters visited a Miami game for the first time this past weekend. We got an update with him. You can check that out, as the Canes are looking to obviously find quality defensive backs going into the future. Got to continue to improve the talent evaluation and the recruiting on the defensive side of the ball. There's also a 2028 quarterback by the name of Neiman Lawrence. He's from Ransom Everglades. He is getting a lot of attention, continues to impress Miami. And we've got an update on him as well. We also have a bunch of stories for you midday today. We'll be talking to several players, so make sure you check that out. And if you need tickets for the Georgia Tech game this weekend, or really any other event out there, whether it be NHL, NBA, NFL, concerts, theater, GameTime.co is your place to go. And I've been using GameTime a lot lately, and the thing that I love the most about it is their feature that they call GameTime Picks, where they weed out all the trash. Best word I could think of on the fly here, but it is kind of trash, because you go looking for tickets and you pull up a listing, and you'll have thousands of seats and listings to look at, and you don't always know the arena or the stadium that you're looking to go to. I mean, you guys are scattered all around the country. You're not always familiar with every venue, and you just want to know, what's my best deal? What's the best price I can get for the best seats in that venue for that event? And that's what Game Time does to you with Game Time Picks, where they show you only incredible deals on the best seats. And they've got curated deals that make it easier to find those seats. They've got super deals. They have last minute deals. Let's say you decide at the last second you want to go to an event. Oh my God. Oh man, I really would love to go see that game, but it's starting in 10 minutes. It's going to take me 20 minutes to get there. I'm going to miss the first quarter or the first period, but I still would love to go. You can pop on Game Time. They will sell you tickets to the event as late as an hour after the start. I mean, so that you might find use for that. Couple other things that are really cool. They have a little toggle switch. You can get all-in pricing, so you don't have to try to guess what your fees are going to be. I mean, listen, when you're buying tickets, fees have become like.
You think people are still listening to this, Gary? You can stop already.
Everybody needs tickets.
And fast forward to this.
Everybody needs tickets. Okay, and so they have a toggle switch. You get all-in pricing, so you can see exactly what the fees are. You don't have to guess. And they also have a seat view where you can click on a button. It'll show you the exact view of the exact seat from where you're going to be sitting at that event. So as you can tell, I can't recommend Game Time enough. So
you want to know what the view looks like when you get there and be surprised. It's like seeing a whole movie.
Nobody wants
and
to
then
be
go back
surprised.
and seeing it again. You want to get to see it like, oh, what a wonderful view, or what a pleasant surprise. You
might want to be surprised, but that's because your wife's taking you to ballets. That's why you don't.
When you vote today,
where you sit at the ballet.
When you vote today,
your wife's taking you to the opera. Okay, well, I mean, these people are going to see Taylor Swift concerts, and taking their kids to see Taylor, Tay-Tay, the Eras tour. They're going to NFL games and NBA games. They care what their seat view is going to look at. So ignore Matt, be quiet, go to gametime.co. And when you make your first purchase, enter the code word ON3. They will give you $20 off your first ticket purchase. Okay.
I'm going to make this point again. Buy a $20 ticket and you get it for free. That's my personal advice.
You also can use the Game Time app, okay? Very functional app. You'll like it. Download it into your from your app store. Put it in your phone, and then when you need your tickets, just click on the Game Time app. And same thing. Use the code ON3 when you make your first purchase. You will get that $20 off.
You're putting them out of business. Everyone's getting free tickets to everything now. I mean, this company is not going to be a sponsor anymore. You should stop saying this stuff. They're going to be they're going to be bankrupt within months. If you're going to an event, if all 10 people that watch this show buy $20 tickets and use their $20 off coupon, then they're losing, is my math right, $200? $200 a month. $200 a month forever. It's terrible.
Ignore him, please.
I just can't believe you've been talking about Game Time for the last 10 minutes.
If you're going to an event, well, that's because you keep interrupting me. If you're going to an event, what time is it? It's Game Time. Check them out. You will not be sorry.
And if you dress up your pets, you do not get the $20 off. That's in the fine print. If you read the fine print all the way, it's hard to see it, but it actually says that if you dress up your pets, the deal's off, people.
Well, terms do apply, by the way. So maybe that is, I don't read the terms. I'll be the first to admit I don't read terms. So maybe it does say that if you dress up your pet, you can't buy tickets at Game Time. I don't know, but I doubt it. So anyway, check them out. Also, come back, check out the website midday today. We'll have a bunch of coverage, talking to a lot of different players about the Duke experience and now getting ready for Georgia Tech. But that's going to conclude it for Good Morning CaneSport for today. For Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you so much for starting your day off with us, everybody, and we will see you next time.